So I interviewed Debbie Ism. She works at Travel Leaders, which is located here in Bloomington at 814 South Walnut Street. Debbie is the branch manager and she's a travel agent as well at Travel Leaders. And really, her biggest job as branch manager is to make sure that the agents can do their best jobs, so the other agents who work there. So Debbie keeps up on the trends in the industry, the news, automation. She really wants to make sure that she knows what's going on. The other agents that work for her knows what's going on, and then also just to make sure that they can best serve their clients. So letting their clients know where is the most popular trend right now, how is it the cheapest to travel, what mode of transportation is the best, and different news of what's safe and what's not safe going around in the world right now. So, how Debbie started in this industry, Debbie's been in it for 39 years now, which is amazingly awesome. It's awesome for being in the industry for how long that she has been, and getting to talk to her about it. She fell in love with the industry in high school. She didn't really know what she wanted to do, and there was a guest speaker who came in and explained the industry, the growth of the industry, the hospitality side of it, and she knew from there that's what she wanted to do. And then how Travel Leaders started. It was owned by a lady named Ann Waters in Fort Wayne. That's where their main headquarter business is. And Ann worked for her dad's agency after high school. She fell in love with it, opened hers up in Fort Wayne, and then now they have one here in Bloomington. Um, so their target audience for the Travel Leaders, they don't really have a specific one. What Debbie said is they really just serve everyone who comes through. They don't have a specific target population that they're going for. It's whoever they can bring in, whoever wants their help and information. And their revenue sources come from those bookings. So and it's a lot of people in Bloomington wanting to travel elsewhere. They don't really get a lot of people that are trying to come to Bloomington. So that's their main revenue source. They charge service fees and from tours and cruise companies as well. I also asked her about the cruise industry because in class I know that we had mentioned how the cruise industry is such a growing industry. It's the number one growing industry right now. And when I mentioned that to her, she actually said trends for cruises come and go, and they've actually been in a downturn the past 2 to 3 years. And I asked her why, because in class we sort of learned that the cruise industry is the most growing right now. And she said more people want an all-inclusive experience. They want the culture and the feel, and to feel the culture of a different country. And she said that when people go on cruises, they sort of feel trapped. They get let off at a port with 4 other cruise ships, and it's just thousands of people on one tiny little island. So she mentioned how now people are starting to turn away from cruises and go back to the all-inclusives and the resorts and such like that. And we also talked about it because my family had went on cruises a couple of times, and then we switched back to just going to an all-inclusive resort. And a cruise can say that it's all-inclusive, but there's so many underlying fees. You can only pick 2 out of the 6 package items that are offered for an all-inclusive, and then you have to pay for more that you want. So it's really not all-inclusive. So that's what we talked about. We also talked about how many workers are at Travel Leaders. There's 4 workers right now at the one located in Bloomington. Debbie herself, 2 other travel agents, and then a sales supporter. And the sales supporter really just supports the travel agents, the relationships that they build, and whatever help that they need. But company-wide, so Fort Wayne included, there's about 50 workers. Sorry about that. And so for their program and their training, they developed their own unique training program. They developed their own unique training program, and Debbie says that the really cool thing is she can train her employees hands-on in Bloomington, but she can also send them to Fort Wayne. It's sort of like an exchange thing of they get hands-on experience and they learn exactly how to be a good travel agent, how to keep up on those trends, and then herself as branch manager has a lot of pride in that. So for marketing efforts, all employees have a really strong online presence in a sense that they all have an agent profile. So if you look up their names, they all have a profile on them, and they all try to do some type of niche market. That's what that she said that's the big one. So they make sure that they have keywords in their profile so that when someone is typing like active adventure or like destination wedding, spring break, something along those lines, that at least one of the agents will have a specific keyword, niche market that a person is looking for that they can cater to and that they can focus on as well. Um, and then we also just talked about their trend season. Um, the biggest trend season is January to April, and she called this the wave season. And it says when it's like when cruise lines, hotels, all inclusive, that's when they offer their biggest discounts throughout the year, and that is when their business also gets the most business since they know all these trends and their coupons and the discounts, and all of that as well. And then I actually talked to her about how they keep up with the new online presence of Expedia and other online travel agencies. Um, and she actually said that Expedia and the rest of them are starting to have a downturn and that people are actually coming back to travel agencies, which I thought was really cool to hear because, especially being a teenager, a young adult in this like day and age in technology society, even I use Expedia, my dad uses Expedia, but to hear that there's starting to be a downturn Expedia, that was really interesting to hear. She said it's because a lot of the time things on Expedia are really not or non-refundable. There's so little help that when people do have problems or people do need a refund or to reschedule, that help is really complicated and it's not that easy to find. Um, and there's also you can see face to face and make sure things are resolved. So she said the biggest thing is that face to face market and like that help isn't there on Expedia, whereas for travel leaders they're right in your backyard and they can help you almost 24/7 if you need help. So those are some of like the special observations that we talked about. A lot of things I learned from the interview is just the importance of trends. Obviously, in class, we learn from a textbook, which can be a little bit outdated now. So, just hearing about the downturn in the cruise industries and the downturn in online travel agent presency, that was really cool. And that's how I can also tie that into what we learned in class of just like the outdatedness and the downturns of the growing industries. Uh, and how did the interview inspire me for my future career? I really don't know what I want to do yet in my future, because I'm a finance major and I'm also minoring in event planning. I think I want to find something that's able to balance those two together. So whether it is becoming a travel agent, I know it's really important to understand cash flows and just how to generate revenue. So um, listening to her and her talk about how passionate she is about it and seeing that how she has been in the industry for 39 years, I just thought that was really inspiring to see how if you do something that you love, like it's something that can last forever. Um, and that was really cool. So those are the things I learned from talking to Debbie.